Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So, this is a video I've been meaning to make for a while, but I've been putting off for a few reasons. So, the primary one being I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go with it, and to be honest, even right now I'm not 100% sure, so I apologise in advance if I end up jumping around a bit or sort of wandering off topic a little bit. But we'll have to see how this goes. So, with everything going on at the moment, it's well overdue to do a channel update, so that's what we're going to attempt to tackle here. So, as I usually do with these things, I'd like to start off by saying welcome to the channel to everybody who has joined us recently, or particularly since I last did one of these. And also welcome back and thank you very much to everybody who has been here for longer and even since the beginning. It's the support is overwhelming, to say the least. And I very, very much appreciate it. So, obviously there's an awful lot going on around the channel at the moment, particularly focusing around the release of Fallout 76. So, over the 2 years or so that we've been doing this, the main focus, as I'm sure you know, is Fallout 4, or has been Fallout 4, particularly the settlement building side of things, and there's been other stuff going on as well, bits and pieces around it, gameplay, few live streams, that sort of thing. However, after about 2+ years of doing this channel, and well, the better part of 3 years playing Fallout 4 as well, as you can imagine, I've put a hell of a lot of time into that game. So, whilst I'm certainly not off the game, or disliking it, or anything like that, but I don't feel burnt out, anything like that, I was, certainly as far as the summer came round, very, very ready for something new. And then Bethesda very conveniently obliged. So, yeah, that brings us up to Fallout 76. So, obviously there's a wide range of mixed feelings on this game. I am very, very enthusiastic about it, and no, it's hard to tell sometimes, but honestly I am. Take my word for it, yeah? This obviously is going to result in a fairly significant shift. Which is not to say that Fallout 4 is going to disappear altogether. It probably will take a bit of a back seat. Obviously, despite the mixture of feelings on the subject, I think it's fair to say that Fallout 76 is, for the foreseeable future at the very least, the future of the Fallout franchise. Bethesda put a lot of time and effort into this. It's the new game. In future, they're planning on obviously doing expansions or DLC or something in that vein. We don't know exactly what format it's going to take yet, but they're going to be doing that for free, which is always good, as well as everything else they're doing. So that's going to be a very significant part of the future. My estimate personally is that has to do with, I don't think Fallout 76 is fitting in the way a Fallout 5 would. So obviously we've got Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and then you've got Fallout New Vegas, which is a bit of a sidestep, which is sort of the place I think Fallout 76 fits. Rather than being sort of a mainline numbered game, it's a little bit off to the side, despite being obviously still a significant entry and canon and all that stuff. I think Fallout 5, or whatever it ends up being, will eventually be coming, but I'm thinking probably not for about 10 years or so, which is a big scary number, but I think it's a reasonable guess. Obviously, Bethesda have said the next game they're doing is Starfield, which they've said is going to be a next-generation massive sci-fi RPG, single-player, yada yada yada. But if it's going to be next generation, and along with other things they've said about it likely being their usual sort of a release schedule, then I don't think we can expect to see that game any sooner than probably 2021, maybe even after that. And the next game after that, of course, is Elder Scrolls 6, so based on what they've said there again about their usual release schedule, I don't think that will be any sooner than 2025. So the window then after that is where we'd likely see, or the first opportunity rather, I think, to see a subsequent entry into the Fallout series. So yeah, a long wait. The late part of the 2020s, possibly even as late as 2030. It does depend on a lot of things. If it's a next generation game with Starfield, then the next generation consoles and so on and so forth would need to be in place for that. Or I would think they would anyway. So, we could potentially be talking about quite a long wait. So, 76 is the foreseeable future. As I say, I'm certainly not going to completely turn my back on Fallout 4. In the shorter term, I've got a couple of projects that I have yet to finish off. and definitely want to finish off. I'll be working on that fairly soon. It's going to take a back seat despite that though, because I mean, as I say, I've been playing Fallout 4 for an awfully long amount of time, and very intensely as well, probably more intensely than I think most people have. I think the building community, you guys and so on, are probably some of the more constant Fallout 4 players, but still, you know, I've been playing this a lot for a long time. So yeah, definitely ready for something new. Fallout 76 therefore for me has come along at about the right time, and obviously I've jumped into that game and thoroughly enjoyed what I've played so far. I know there's been a lot of mixed feelings, and I know there's some people who have gone from being enthusiastic to less enthusiastic, and others have gone the other direction, who've been unsure and gotten into it and enjoyed what they've found. And that's great. Hopefully, through the videos I'll be doing here on out, or at least the Fallout 76 ones, we'll swing a few people back towards being into it, because, you know, it's a great game. If people get into it, that's a good thing. So yeah, obviously the building system in that game is profoundly different to Fallout 4, and we've barely, well, obviously not even scratched the surface of it so far, so there's a lot to learn on that, and it'll be interesting to see how I develop as a builder, how the building system develops in the game. I do know Bethesda have said recently that there will be changes of some description coming to the building system, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. Because of the way the game is set up and the way things function, the rate of building in general, sort of the production of building and building videos, is definitely going to fall back. Not least of all because, you know, no mods have to get the materials the old-fashioned way, so that takes time. And the camp system is very versatile, and so I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen the Workbench Anywhere stuff I did in Fallout 4. That's more in the vein of what we'll be looking at, although we won't be able to include existing structures, which is a little disappointing, but, you know, we will be able to use the landscape, so that should be cool. However, it will require me to go out and find these places, so again, adding to the time it takes to produce content. But, that being said, I'm looking forward to seeing what I run into and what I can explore and find and build on. And I'm also thoroughly enjoying the gameplay. I'm going to be putting out a video after this one, sort of talking about what I think is the best approach to certainly the early game and the game as a whole, with regards to getting the most out of it. And I think there's a number of reasons that people have not enjoyed the beta experience, or those who haven't. A lot of people have, myself included. And I think it's got a lot to do with the fact it's been short sessions. People are rushing through, trying to see as much as they can. And ironically enough, they're actually not seeing very much of anything, which leads them to make some statements that are a little unfortunate, and in some cases just wildly inaccurate, to be honest. Some of the stuff I've seen is extremely frustratingly incorrect. So, yeah, if I would say anything there, I'd say take what you see on YouTube with a significant pinch of salt, particularly when it's saying, oh, this game has none of this in it, it's awful, whatever. People have not necessarily looked at it the right way, I don't think, or approached it, and possibly even in some cases just blatantly pandered to the negativity out there and just done it for views. But I'm not going to get into that because I'll just get aggravated. Due to the fact that things will slow down on the building side, obviously I will be making up some of that by doing other things as well. So I've already started doing little episodes from my streams. It's the country road stuff I've been doing. You'll see they're going to be about 20 minutes or so, just sort of extracts on specific locations, probably. I think that's going to be the easiest way and best way of doing it. It'll be relatively standalone, and you sort of jump in, get this bite-sized episode, bit of fun, see what we're up to, and then hop out again at any place you like. So yeah, in the short, it'll allow me to keep content coming, which is cool. The other side of that, of course, is the streams themselves, which are going to be as regular as I can make them, real life notwithstanding, so that will it'll require a bit of juggling, a bit of balance. We'll have to see how things work out on that. So if you haven't stopped by for one already, and you happen to notice I'm live, by all means, please do jump in, pop in the chat, say hi, that sort of thing. I'll certainly look forward to saying hi back or answering any questions. In fact, it's a really good way to ask questions if you've got them or if you want to know something, assuming I've got the answers anyway. As obviously, yeah, if I'm live, then you can just straight ask me a question. I can answer it reasonably swiftly. So it's good in that regard. And yeah, it's a lot of fun as well. Well, I think it is anyway. So, sort of leaning back towards Fallout 4, obviously, as much as that's going to take a back seat, it's not going to be over and done with. I'm not going to ignore it altogether. There are still things I want to do in that game. I've only completed it once, and there's, what, 1, 2, 3... at least 3 approaches to the end game that I can think of off the top of my head. Kind of on the spot now. And I've only done one of those. So there's that. There's also a number of mods I want to try out with it. By the end of sort of playing Fallout 4 sort of recently, it's lacked a certain challenge, which has come back with Fallout 76 in a really satisfying way, by the way. It's nice to feel that Fallout is not just a breeze again. You know, it actually requires me to work for it. So one of the things I'm thinking of doing longer term is working towards a more challenging playthrough, maybe one that completely switches up my gameplay approach as well. So that will happen eventually. There's no as and when yet, but we'll see. Well, the other thing I want to do, Fallout 3 was the first game that got me into the Fallout series, and it actually got me back into gaming after a period off. So I would like to go back and try that out. Probably on PC, so that makes making content easier and gives me a lot more options. Also, my PS3 is bust, so yeah, that's kind of helpful. But it'll also mean I can run a few mods on that, hopefully update the graphics a little bit, and have some fun with what was a very, very deep, expansive, and just huge game that was a huge part of getting to where we are today. So that should be great fun to have a look at again. And of course, between now and whenever, there will be obviously other games coming out that I'm interested in having a look at. Just straight off the top of my head, obviously Starfield whenever that comes out, Elder Scrolls 6 way off in the future, and also sort of nearer to home, Rage 2 comes out next year, which looks like it'll be an absolute riot, so I'm looking forward to playing that. In that case, I've actually gone for the special edition of it, because it was actually not a big jump from the middle tier edition. So you'll start seeing the back here somewhere behind me. You'll start seeing some of the stuff that comes with that up on that shelf when the game eventually drops next spring. And there was something else as well. Anthem might be fun. I'm going to watch that a little more closely before I make a final decision on it. And it probably won't be a huge thing, I wouldn't guess, but we'll see. You never know. A lot of stuff coming in the future. But obviously the core is going to remain dedicated to the Fallout side of things, and primarily it'll have to shift towards Fallout 76, because, as I say, that is where the future is. Regarding the various mix of feelings on that game, like I say, I'm going to do a video shortly on what I think is the best way to get the most out of the game, and certainly set yourself up for a strong start as well. So that should be the next video after this. I'm hoping to get it up before midnight tomorrow, when the full game drops. I do have to investigate that a little more, actually. For those who don't know, by the way, if you've managed to miss it up until now, the new Day 1 patch and shift over to the live version of the game is available to preload, so if you are playing it, get on that sooner rather than later, because it's huge, I think is the word I'm looking for. The Day 1 patch is bigger than the initial download of the game, by a respectable margin. The whole thing is absolutely massive. You're talking, all told, probably in the 100 gig region, give or take a bit. So that's something to bear in mind, and you might want to jump on early. So I think that pretty much covers most of the big points that I wanted to make. Yeah, as I say, 76 will be a major feature. Obviously there will be other stuff coming in and around that. New games, the occasional Fallout 4 stuff, but obviously on something of a back burner. And obviously more and more coming on in the future, and we'll have to see how the game develops and how future expansions and stuff affect the game and where it goes, which will be very interesting, I think. There's a huge amount of potential and future in this game, I think, so that'll be very cool. But beyond that, as I say, if you haven't already, do stop by and check out the streams. You can find them here on YouTube or over on Twitch, twitch.tv/DarthXionGames. If you've got notifications switched on, you'll find out when I go live straight away. It's the easiest way of doing it. As I say, times are a little hit and miss for me, unfortunately. It's a symptom of not quite knowing where I'm going to be one week to the next with my non-YouTube life. So there we go. Beyond that, as always, social media links up and around and all over the place. So do stop by and catch up with me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all that good stuff. And I shall look forward to speaking to you very, very soon. Thanks a lot, guys.